City, and we have a full weekend of football fixtures, so we will look at them, talk F1, rugby, tennis, athletics, and talk about this evening's fixture with Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Arsenal. So let's introduce Hashim and his thoughts so far and after lockdown.
Yeah, so great to be here again. Thanks, Cal. In terms of kind of where we are at the moment, I think gradually we are seeing the quality certainly rising in regards to the football. I think it was a bit of a slow start, but I think if you look at the games between like Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea the other day, Everton, Leicester even, I don't think the fans not being there has kind of affected the players. I think the quality's going higher, which is seeing some great football.
Yeah, I noticed that I reckon the first 2-3 games it was a bit difficult without the fans in there, but now looking at the quality and all of the fans not being there and the TV coverage, it's been absolutely excellent.
Absolutely, and I think that's what we needed. There was a danger that it could have been a bit of a damp squib with the lack of fans. It might have been treated more as a training session, but I think the players are getting used to it, and I think the fans watching are getting used to it for the moment. So hopefully an exciting end to the season.
And looking at the league table, it's all tightening up down there as well. Liverpool obviously winning the league. Manchester City giving them a good game during the week. Did you watch that?
I did. They gave them a bit of a pasting, I think. Liverpool, I assume, were celebrating maybe a little too much over that week.
How many times do you think they celebrated to play football in that way?
I think it was, I don't think they slept during that period, to be fair, but I think, fully deserved by Liverpool. I think after 30 years of waiting, they probably deserved their limelight. But, City, I think, were ruthless. We can say that Liverpool over-celebrated. They weren't kind of at it. But City just showed the quality, and especially Kevin De Bruyne as well was a magician again.
Absolutely. Worth every penny of the millions that Manchester City spent on him.
Absolutely, I think I'd have him down there, Wolves in an instant. To be fair, but he exudes absolute quality. Best player on the pitch by a mile, and I'd go as far as to say the best player in the league.
Jurgen Klopp defended Liverpool's attitude after that 4-0 loss at Manchester City. The manager took issue with some of the questions that the media had said to him, saying that the new champions' approach to their 4-0 defeat by Manchester City wasn't very good.
Yeah, it's I don't think I can fault the attitude. I think the attitude was fine. I just think, maybe partly the celebrations, partly because they've already won the league. I think they were maybe going through kind of the motion slightly. They weren't sharp enough. In a couple of chances they had in the first half, they would have buried that ordinarily. But I think, Jurgen Klopp deep down will be absolutely furious with that performance. And I think Villa might be in for a bit of a tough game on
the
weekend.
I'm a Muslim, and we're both Muslims, and we don't bet. But if we had to bet, I will guarantee you that Aston Villa will lose on Sunday.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I think it probably would have been better for Villa to see a Liverpool victory, to be fair. They might have taken it a little easier, but I think after that result, Villa are in trouble.
Aston Villa fans out there, if you want to comment, our text lines and phone lines are now open. 07440 420 432. And you can give the studio a live call, 01902 972 150. If you want to talk any sport whatsoever, we can change topics just like that, can't we?
Absolutely.
Like I said, today we're talking boxing, athletics, F1, tennis. We've got loads and loads of things happening today. Just before we carry on, Kevin De Bruyne, we were talking about him, especially after that 4-0 win. I've got some statistics here about Kevin. Chances created since he joined the Premiership in 2015 and 16 year. 432 chances. Amazing, isn't it?
Incredible.
62 assists and 16 goals outside the box. Nearly as good as Ruben Neves.
Yeah, he's certainly up there. I mean, but those statistics are incredible, and it just goes to show how integral he is to Man City. And on a wider point, in July, City are going to hear about whether they're in the Champions League next season, which is pending. And if they don't get there, we might see De Bruyne leave potentially.
So if you go back last week, Sheffield United versus Tottenham, what a game that was. A bit of a shock.
I don't know if it is a shock, to be fair. I think Sheffield United are pretty much the equals to Tottenham at the moment. Maybe not kind of star names wise, but I think they're certainly more of a team than Tottenham are. And I think Tottenham weren't in the game at all. They scored in the 92nd minute or something with their second chance. Yeah, well deserved Sheffield United.
There was a goal that Tottenham scored and it was disallowed. Your views on that?
Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I think ultimately they are following the law, which is fair enough. But I think the law needs changing, and the decision was ridiculous. It should have been a foul. If they're not going to give the goal, give the foul, because he was clearly pushed. I don't know what Moura was meant to do. I don't know how he was meant to get his.
Well, according to Jose Mourinho, because of that, Spurs went downhill because of that decision.
Potentially. I mean, it is going to kind of morale-wise lower it. I know that, but West Ham, they had a similar one. And what did they do? They came out fighting, and won the game against Chelsea. So I think Mourinho is potentially looking for excuses, but I can see why he'd be furious.
Well, doing Ref Watch, VAR blameless on Lucas Moura's decision, but why no free kick? So the incident, Harry Kane's equaliser, was ruled out after the VAR saw the ball touch the arm of Lucas Moura after the Spurs forward was bundled over during the build-up to Kane's strike. Verdict: it's just the unfortunate part of the new law, like you said. The referee and the VAR are blameless. The ball strikes Moura's arm as he falls quite inadvertently. The law is set up now that if it strikes the arm and leads directly to a goal-scoring opportunity, which it does, the goal should be disallowed. It is very interesting because Moura was actually fouled, and the referee, Chris Kavanagh, played advantage, and I think that's where it all got lost the check when it was recommended that the goal is disallowed. The referee actually forgot about the foul, so he could have gone back and given a free kick.
He could have quite easily, but surely VAR on reviewing it should be telling the referee that maybe to the letter of the law it's not a goal. However,
go back.
Go back because he was fouled. You can't have one rule for one and not the other. I mean, there's no consistency. I think without VAR we'd have none of this. I don't think it makes the game any better. I think we're losing a lot from VAR being here, unfortunately.
And also the other games during the week, Manchester City 4, there was 4-0 against Liverpool. There was an incident there as well where Manchester City scored the 5th goal, and that was also because it touched the player's arm, and Mahrez put it in the back of the net, and that was disallowed. And also West Ham 3, Chelsea 2, with the score at 0-0. Thomas Soucek scrambles in a goal for West Ham, but with Antonio in an offside position and just in front of the keeper, VAR ruled the goal out. That was a ridiculous decision.
Oh, that was again, insane. I think with the West Ham one, part of the argument was that the guy was impinging on the keeper's view, but the guy was lying on the floor.
What could he do?
He's a 6 foot keeper. He clearly saw. So again, what can you do? Ridiculous.
There are some a Premiership game going on at the moment. Norwich City 0. Brighton and Hove Albion 1, 81 minutes gone there. And 79 minutes gone at the Derby County ground. It's Derby County 0, Nottingham Forest 1 as well. Loads more games coming up today. We'll be talking about them. Let's move on to Birmingham City's youngster, Jude Bellingham.
Well, apparently 21 million to Dortmund. I play Championship Manager, a football game, and I always buy this player. I think the potential is absolutely fantastic from what I've seen of the player. And I think the right move as well for himself, for Dortmund. I think if you look at Sancho, Haaland that have gone there, bring these players through to their potential. I think if he's going to go to someone like United, he probably wouldn't have got the game time that he would do at Dortmund. So I think for Birmingham, they need the money for the player. I think fantastic. I think the potential is amazing.
Did you know he's not signed a professional contract with Birmingham City?
I didn't.
He's 17 years old. He's signed a contract, but they will get £21 million for him if this deal goes through.
You know, crazy, isn't it? The football fees nowadays for a 17, 18-year-old without a contract as well, unbelievable. But again, it just shows how highly he's thought of. So, you know, I think for both parties, fantastic move.
Good deal. Also talking about fees, Leroy Sané has completed his £54.8 million transfer from Manchester City to Bayern Munich. The German international passed the second part of his medical on Thursday morning before returning to Bayern's training centre to finalise his move. Bayern Munich apologised to Manchester City following the publication of photographs showing Sané as their player before the transfer had been officially announced. But the 24-year-old has now signed a 5-year contract. Is that a good deal for both clubs as well?
You know what, Cal? I think for City, it's. I think we said it a couple of weeks ago. I think that's a disappointment massively. I think the player is so good. I think there was a statistic that he's scored something ridiculous, like 68 goals or something in the time that he's been with City. He's still at a really young age, and I think they're going to miss him massively. I think for Bayern, it's a bit of a snip, to be fair, at 50 odd million. It's just how he's going to react after his layoff for a year or so now. So, but I guess we'll see.
He got injured just before lockdown, and then obviously within the months he's recovered and got himself a transfer move. Is he going to be the same player?
I think it's going to take him a while, but Bayern Munich expectations are massive. There, you need to really hit the ground running, especially when you're going for 50 odd million. I think Bayern have won the league again this season, but I guess time will tell. But I think he'll need to hit the ground running for such a big fee, a massive club as well.
12 minutes left to our break. We have our first message. Salam, brother Cal and Hashim. Good sports show and good to see versatility as a presenter. Stories of the week on Sunday and sports on Saturday. And not everyone can do that. On the topic of sports, can we take a moment and pray for Abdul Manap, father of boxed Khabib, who's sadly passed away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him Jannatul Firdaus. That's from Fiaz Ahmed. Yes, boxing. Can't wait for a bit of boxing.
I know it's been a while since we've had any boxing. To be fair, I think it's a really, really exciting matchups to look forward to over the coming weeks and months. Again, are there going to be any crowds there? I think that's going to be one of those things that's going to have an impact on potentially how they perform. I think they get so G'd up by the crowd and they run on that adrenaline that it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's lots of things changing this week. So from today, hairdressers, beauticians, pubs and bars and no discotheques, but everything else is started to open up for the public.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking in the papers today, there were queues around the block for people getting the hair cut after lockdown.
I went there this morning. My hairdresser, bless him, he's had 3 months to sort the dressing out, partitions, all the masks. He comes and does it 9 o'clock this morning. So I had to wait half an hour for him to get ready. And by the time he was ready, there was a queue outside the shop. But do I look good?
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, I've dolled up all right, yeah?
Absolutely. Perfection.
Thank you. Talking a bit about cricket, Boris Johnson says recreational cricket can't resume because of teas and dressing room risks. Recreational cricket is not yet safe to play because of issues surrounding communal teas and dressing rooms, says our Prime Minister. Last month, Johnson said grassroots cricket could not return because the ball is a natural vector of disease. It's a leather ball.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. I mean, I follow Michael Vaughan on Instagram, and he's kind of the same opinion. It makes little sense. I mean, football, is that not going to be kind of
Yeah.
like a vector of disease in there?
It's same like tennis and basketball.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it makes very little sense to me, to be fair. I think with the point of the tees as well. You know what?
It's a tease. It's the changing rooms and so on and so forth. There are other factors involved that generate proximity, which you might not get in the games of tennis. You don't need dressing rooms and you don't need tees, so why can't they play?
And how spread out are you on the field? You know,
It's more than 2 meters, isn't it?
absolutely more than a football match potentially. The gaps between people. So, yeah, that makes very little sense. I think we need to get cricket back.
As talking about cricket, 2 overseas players allowed in county championships and one day cup from 2021. 2 overseas players will be allowed in county championships and a one day cup team during the 2021 season. The change by the England and Wales Cricket Board comes following the decision to terminate Colpack's registration at the end of this year. First class counties are permitted to field 2 overseas players in the T20 Blast, but have been restricted to 1 in other competitions since 2007. The 2020 county season is scheduled to get underway on the 1st of August. Many counties have cancelled deals for overseas players this season because of the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. 2 people.
Yeah, I think for the counties, it's probably a good move for the fans as well as the counties. I mean, with overseas players, I always think brilliant for the county scene itself, for the fans of like Yorkshire or whoever. I think on a level when you're playing internationally, I think it does harm us slightly because these international players get used to our grounds, they get used to the Duke ball,
and the weather,
and the weather as well. So when teams like Australia and India and Pakistan are coming over, it will only benefit them to have the experience of playing in England. But I think for the fans itself, it will be fantastic to see all these world class stars. Coming over to our shores.
That's if we could go and watch them.
Well, absolutely. I mean, luckily we do have a Sky Cricket at the moment to kind of watch them. But all going well over the coming weeks and months, we'll be able to visit the grounds again. I know that obviously the test starts again on Wednesday, I believe.
Wednesday, West Indies. I have got the teams. If you just bear with me. I've got the team somewhere.
I mean, it's exciting to have the cricket back. I think, I think thousands of people, millions in the world love cricket, and I think the matchup will be an exciting game for both.
Yeah, so England have named Dom Bess as their spinner in a 13-man squad for the first test against West Indies, which begins on Wednesday. Off-spinner Bess is chosen ahead of Jack Leach and Moeen Ali, who is not among the list of 9 reserves either. So that's disappointing news for Pakistani followers, especially.
Yeah, I think, Moeen Ali is,
He's hot and cold, isn't he?
He's hot and cold, but he's kind of like a master of...
Just a one...
jack of all trades, not a master of one. So I think that works against him. If he was primarily a spinner, brilliant, but he's kind of in between. And I think we've got too many players potentially that are like that. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully we'll get to see him again in an England side.
So I've got the squad here, the England squad that will play West Indies in Southampton on Wednesday. So Ben Stokes is captain, James Anderson, Jofra Archer, Dominic Best, Stuart Broad, Rory Burns, Joss Butler, Zach Crawley, Joe Denley, Ollie Pope, Dom Sibley, Chris Wokes and Mark Wood. Good team.
Yeah, good team. I think with England, the problem over the last kind of 2, 3, 4 years has probably been the openers. Since Alistair Cook's retired, I don't think that we've had the quality or the consistency in that top 2 position. So I think it will be interesting to see how the openers do. I think like with anything, you've got a good opening partnership. It sets you up for the game. Once the openers go, you're in trouble. So it'll be interesting to see.
Do you like Test cricket or would you prefer 2020?
Test cricket over any form of other cricket. I think it shows the true skill. It's the true mental kind of strength of a cricketer. I think it's interesting to see how field positions change, how batsmen's mindsets change. Different bowling and all this kind of stuff. Whereas I think with 2020, anyone can do that. Really, I think hitting hope, isn't it? Essentially.
What about the fans? Is it more exciting for the fans?
I think the majority will go for excitement at 2020 over sitting there for 8 hours a day at a test match. But
Who's got the time to sit there for 8 hours a day for potentially 5 days?
well, I mean, you're telling me like you can go on holiday to Australia, have a nice 10-day break, 5 of those spent in the sun, chilling out with an ice cream, over a wet and windy Worcester.
If I went to Australia, it'd take me 5 days to recuperate, with the jet lag.
Yeah.
And then I probably wouldn't even, I'll probably go to sleep watching the cricket match.
Yeah, well, it's a relaxing area to fall asleep in, but yeah, well, I can see why. Obviously, the majority would prefer the kind of hit and kind of hope format.
You any good with tennis?
Yeah, I do. I used to partake in a bit of tennis back in the day. I do enjoy. I love watching Wimbledon. Love watching the Grand Slams. So yeah, I enjoy tennis.
Well, it would have been Wimbledon season now. So because there's no Wimbledon, we're going to have our own little Wimbledon knowledge.
Okay.
Something tennisy, something easy. Let's just see how good you are. Okay, so this
No
is a Wimbledon quiz. Serena Williams or Venus Williams? So it's a 50-50 chance you're going to get this right. Who was ordered to replay a point after beads fell from her hair while playing? Was that Serena or was it Venus?
I'm sure that would have been Venus. I'm sure she used to wear beads quite a lot.
Yeah, you'd be absolutely correct.
Brilliant.
Well done. 100% so far. Pressure. Who won the sisters' first meeting at a Grand Slam? First meeting. Would it be the older sister Venus or the younger sister Serena Williams?
I mean, logic would dictate it would be the older sister. So I'd probably go for Venus again.
He's good. He's very good. I told you he's Ramadan Radio Wolves' expert sports specialist. He knows everything about sports. Let's go on with the third question. Which Williams sister accused Wimbledon of being on the wrong side of history in 2006 because the tournament did not offer equal prize money for the male and female players?
Ooh, this is
2006. That's a bit of a clue for you.
I mean, could be where that I'm going a little bit unstuck. Because from my point of view, I think it would be something that Serena would say rather than Venus. But I'm going to go for Venus.
You know what? You are, again, correct. Yeah, it was Venus.
I mean the age of it.
2000. That's what I said, 2006. The Williams have played 30 matches against each other. Who has won the most?
How many Grand Slams has Serena won over the years? I'd say Serena.
100% so far. 2 more questions. Do you reckon you're going to do a full sweep?
I'll try.
The Williams have played... Oh, I've done this twice. Actually, I'll give you one more. Who won a Grand Slam singles title first? Was it Serena Williams or was it Venus Williams? Who won the first Grand Slam?
Venus Williams.
100%.
Well, hey.
Wow, fantastic. I'd give you a prize, but I haven't got one to give you. So,
I'll take pride as a prize.
I have a call coming in. Let's see. Hello?
System from BT.
Oh, did have a call. BT answering phone, I think. Let's cancel that. Don't forget, if you want to call us, 01902 972 150. If you want to talk sport, we have got an expert in here, and that's not me. And if you want to talk Wolves, then talk to me. You can text us if you're celebrating today, any message you want to give a loved one. 07440 420 432. We're going to come to a break very, very soon. After the break, we'll be talking athletics. We'll be talking F1. We'll be talking Wolverhampton Wanderers. We'll give you an update on all the sport that's been happening while we've been broadcasting. And don't forget that telephone line once again, 01902 972 150 if you want to call us this Saturday afternoon. The scores, so it's a full-time at Carrow Road. It's Norwich City 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. and we're in the 5th minute of extra time at the County Ground. Derby County 0, Nottingham Forest 1. So catch you guys back right after these few words. Welcome back to RamadanRadioWolves.com. It's a sports zone with Khalid and Hashim this Saturday afternoon. It is 2:30 in the UK, 3:30 in Central Europe. We just had a result in Derby County 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Does that change much in the table?
Not particularly. I mean, Forest are fourth in the league now, looking good. Derby, I think it's a poor result for their playoff hopes because they're just outside the playoffs. I think there's about 6 teams potentially up until 6th that can get that
they normally have a good run in, don't they? Every year I've always seen Derby County in the playoffs.
Yeah, they with Rooney in banging form as well, to be fair. But I mean, teams like Millwall are 1 or 2 points off the playoffs. You've got Swansea, you've got Preston, you've got Bristol City. So there are a lot of teams that are chasing. I think Forest are looking good at the moment with Brentford. So it's going to be an exciting run into the Championship.
I was watching the Derby game before I came to the studio and saw Wayne Rooney. He's put a bit of timber on, hasn't he?
Yeah,
and I didn't know he had a ginger beard.
I know.
Ginger.
I know. He looks. He doesn't look like a footballer, really, does he? To be fair,
He looks more like a rugby player, doesn't he?
Rugby player.
And his position's changed a bit as well. He's playing deep midfield.
Yeah, he was very deep today. I think it's appreciation that he doesn't have quite the explosive kind of pace that he did back in the day. But he's undoubted quality on the ball. His passing range is fantastic, and you've got that experience as well. So fair play to him for dropping down to the Championship.
And just looking at some of the fixtures happening today, 3 o'clock kickoffs: Leicester City versus Crystal Palace. Draw or a Crystal Palace win? What do you
Palace.
Palace win.
Palace win.
You're going for it?
I'm going for it. I think Palace are pretty good away from home.
I hope you're correct there, because that would help Wolverhampton Wanderers out a lot.
Absolutely.
If we win tonight against Arsenal, we'll talk about it a bit later, but that potentially put us in 4th place.
I mean, who'd have thought it? 2-3 weeks before lockdown that we'd be kind of talking about getting into the Champions League. I think particularly Leicester on such a downhill spiral at the moment. They've only won 10 points out of the last 33. And amazingly they're still 3rd, but they're on a downhill spiral. Chelsea lost the other day, which was massive for us. Yeah. But ultimately, like Nuno would say, we've just got to keep
game at a time,
and that's for all the teams.
The 3 o'clock kickoff: Manchester United versus Bournemouth. Manchester United on form now.
Yeah, they're playing really well. I think Pogba and particularly Fernandes, he's been absolutely fantastic. Still not the best Portuguese player in the league.
Of course not.
Absolutely, but no, he's doing really well. I think Bournemouth, they're looking.
They've gone. I think they've gone now.
Oh, they're looking dead and buried at the moment. With particularly with the fixtures coming up, I think they've lost. They've got no ideas left. They're struggling.
They will struggle today as well. Manchester United at home. They've done quite well since lockdown. 4 games, 11 points, is it?
Yeah, so I think they've beaten. They drew with Tottenham on the opening one. They destroyed Brighton. They beat Norwich in the cup. They've got some really good results recently, and I think
just gelling at the right time.
Yeah, and I think when you're looking to get into that Champions League spot, it's often the teams that are coming into form, similar to the playoffs. You put that run together, then you'll get. I think United, to be honest, I think they'll get there. I think Chelsea and Leicester will falter.
I've just been looking at the league table. So Manchester United on 52 points, Wolverhampton Wanderers on 52 points, play the same games, but they've scored 9 goals more. That might just make the difference.
Possibly. You know what, though? We win all our games, we're there. Ultimately.
Inshallah.
I think it's great to have the goals in the back pocket and everything, but ultimately, as long as we win all our games, that's essentially what kind of matters. I think the only what I did pick up on though is I think we're still getting a lack of people talking about us. Just on the point of Chelsea, Frank Lampard said the other day, we're 2 points ahead of Man United. Still, no mention of Wolves or anything like that. But
to me personally, I think that's a good way, because we could just sneak in and shock the world that Wolverhampton Wanderers this is the stage that we should be in.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and bring it on. Continue to not talk about us, and we'll continue to do what we do. That's what the way it should be. I think
exactly. So Wolves play Arsenal's at 5:30 this evening, and later on at 8 o'clock it's Chelsea versus Watford. Watford got a chance.
Well, Watford have struggled, I think, since the lockdown. I think one of my friends is a Watford fan, and he said there was rumblings that Nigel Pearson could be on his way out as well, which, they beat Liverpool before lockdown, didn't they? 3-0 quite comfortably.
Before lockdown, they were top form, because they were at one stage bottom of the table, and Nigel Pearson came in, turned things around, and got them to relative safety, and then all of a sudden they've just gone back into that hole again.
Yeah, it is a shame for players like Ben Foster and Troy Deeney after all the abuse they were giving us after the FA Cup game. But yeah, they are struggling. I can really only see a Chelsea win today.
Looking into the Championship, Derby County obviously lost to Nottingham Forest. Blackburn Rovers versus Leeds, another big game for Leeds United.
Absolutely massive game. I think there's only a point potentially or two that separates West Brom and Leeds. West Brom won in midweek to put the pressure back on. Leeds could only draw at home to Luton 1-1, which I think was a missed opportunity. Blackburn are a decent team. I mean, they could potentially sneak into the playoffs. So localish derby, Yorkshire, Lancashire. So yeah. Must win for Leeds.
Brentford versus Wigan. Bad news coming from Wigan today as well, that they could be going into administration.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that is, to be fair. I mean, it was only 7-8 years ago that they beat City in the FA Cup final. Since that point in time, they won the FA Cup and they seem to have gone downhill into some kind of oblivion. When Dave Whelan was in charge, I think he had JJB and all that kind of stuff, they were doing fantastic, well-run clubs. So I think it's probably something that you need to point at the owners and maybe, is the league at fault for allowing these owners to run them?
But how Wigan is a rugby town, isn't it? Not a football town.
Yeah, I think most Wiganers do prefer the rugby league side of things, and I think traditionally Wigan have had they've dominated at times rugby league, so maybe they should stick to that.
Yeah, talk about when they do play football. I know in the FA Cup, Wigan Athletic, their supporters normally used to give up their seats, so other teams could take their seats just because of financial matters.
Yeah.
So good on them. I hope they survive. It's a traditional club, isn't it?
Yeah, all these clubs that, especially during this period of time, no one wants a football team to go out of existence. You know what? It just punishes normal people like us, the fans. Ultimately, it's the owners that need to be punished. There should be, teams shouldn't be getting dock points, I don't think, because again, that's punishing the fans. The owners and the Football League need to look at themselves in these situations, and are they allowing the right people taking these clubs on?
Do you think this coronavirus pandemic has something to do with Wigan's demise?
I don't know, even if we could look at that, to be fair. I mean, how many other clubs have gone at the moment? How many other clubs have fallen by the wayside into administration? You have to, as a football club, have the provisions in place to be able to deal with these kind of things, especially at Championship level. Unfortunately, I think it's probably a case of maybe mismanagement, financial or otherwise. And Wigan, unfortunately, don't have the fan base or the ticket sales to potentially be able to make up the shortfall, unfortunately.
No. Other matches happening this afternoon, 3 o'clock kickoffs. Bristol City versus Cardiff City. Another big game there.
Yeah, local derby. I think they call it the 7-side derby. Is it just over the Severn Bridge? Probably Cardiff's nearest game, but Cardiff in the playoffs at the moment. Bristol City, I think, aren't on a great run of form. Another one that could sneak in there, I think. But no, Cardiff are looking good. I think when they went down from the Premiership, I wasn't expecting them to bounce back any time soon. But
they're doing well. Together. And the Warnock's left them as well, gone to Middlesbrough.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought he retired. And that's the vibe I was getting from Neil Warnock, that he's retiring from football. And the next thing I read, Middlesbrough have signed him.
The guy's 70 years old. You know what? He's fair play to him. Whatever you think about Neil Warnock, the guy's passionate. And I think for Middlesbrough, I know they lost against Hull a couple of nights ago, but I think if they are going to get out of the mess that they're in at the moment, they need someone like a Warnock. And hopefully they can build on it next season as well. But he keeps coming back, that guy does.
If you want to talk anything sport today, 01902 972 150. If you're in one of them moods that you want to talk to us about any sport whatsoever, football, cricket, rugby, boxing, F1, we're at your service today, 01902 972 150. Fulham versus Birmingham City is another 3 o'clock kickoff. Fulham there and thereabouts, 5th position at the moment.
Yeah, I think they've lost a couple of important games recently since the lockdown. They lost at home to Brentford. They lost to Leeds quite resoundingly the other week, but they did win against QPR, which was a good result for them. So I can only see one winner here against Blues, who they'll survive. Blues will,
Just about.
but you're here just about.
The rest of the games is Huddersfield Town versus Preston North End, Luton Town versus Reading, and finally Stoke City versus Barnsley. And just looking at the top of the Championship table, Leeds on 75 points, West Brom on 74 points. Then come Nottingham Forest and Brentford with Fulham, and then Cardiff. Going to be tight again, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we say this every year pretty much, but the Championship is, one of those leagues outside of potentially the top two, which are normally pretty much certain. The next four after that, 5, 6, 7 teams can get in there, and that prize of playing at Wembley, albeit potentially behind no fans there with them, to get into the Premier League with all the riches, massive time for all those teams.
Moving on to a bit of athletics this afternoon. Wilson Kipsang, marathon winner, handed a 4-year ban for anti-doping rule violations. The former marathon world record holder Wilson Kipsang has been banned for 4 years. World Athletics said between April and May, the 38-year-old Kenyan, twice a London marathon winner, had missed 4 whereabouts appointments. 3 such failures within 12 months leads to an automatic ban. Kipsang said he missed a test in May because of a traffic accident and provided a photo of the crash, but that was found to be from the previous year, August. So it's banned now. Why did I do that? Drugs.
We're not surprised, are we?
Not with Kenyans well, we really shouldn't label them as drug users, but
it's the same for Russia. Russia, how much kind of emphasis has been on their doping situation. They're banned from all these kind of events, but we're not surprised about this. Athletics has had this going on for 20, 30, 40 years now, and unfortunately, it's not a level playing field anymore. There's too many people that are looking for ways to enhance their performance, which unfortunately is to the detriment of the sport. And I think, again, serious questions need to look at the top of the sport. What are they doing to combat this? Unfortunately, it's just going to continue.
Also, British Athletics Championships rescheduled for the 4th and 5th of September. The event in Manchester, which normally acts as trials for the Olympics, was meant to be held on the 20th and 25th of June and already had been scheduled once. We are delighted to be able to offer our athletes an opportunity to compete, UK Athletics Chief Executive Joanna Coates said. There will be live coverage of the championship on the BBC. So some more athletics on TV.
Yeah, it feels like it's been an age since we'd seen any athletics on TV. But exciting to have it back. I think to the point before that, as long as it's a level playing field, I love watching athletics. I love the Olympics, all that kind of stuff. So, hopefully onwards and upwards.
Just moving to a bit of rugby, Manu Tulagi overseas move would halt England career, says the RFU. The Rugby Football Union have no plans to change the rules regarding foreign players based in the UK if they were to move abroad following his decision to leave Leicester Tigers. Tulagi is set to leave Welford Road after failing to agree terms on an amended contract. While it's understood that representatives are investigating a move to another Premiership club, the 29-year-old may be forced to look overseas. However, the RFU say they have no intentions of relaxing the regulation which prevent those who play abroad from being picked for the England.
Something I don't agree with. I think if you're good enough, regardless of whatever team, country you play for, then you should be allowed to play for your country. I mean, it's just restricting players, isn't it, from potentially earning a better living abroad, widening their horizons. I think it's a little archaic, to be honest with you, and I think that needs to change.
change indeed. There'll be a change at 3 o'clock. We've got the teens on radio taking over with Alvina. Later on in the evening, we got our friend, our brother Hafiz Fiaz with a beautiful Naat show, Shami Naat. Have you listened to that?
We have actually. We do listen quite regularly, to be fair. So really looking forward to it.
Amazing show. So anyone who hasn't listened to Hafiz Fiaz, do tune in tonight. He's got an amazing show. We've got 7 more minutes left. We've got some gossip news that I want to talk about. Chelsea and Manchester City could turn to Everton's France left back Lucas Digne, 26, if they cannot prize England left back Ben Chilwell, 23, away from Leicester. Never heard of him, Lucas Digne.
Yeah, he's. I think he came from Paris Saint-Germain maybe a year or two ago. But if I was whoever's after him, I'd go for him over Chilwell anyway. I think he's far better.
A few weeks ago we did the sports show and we were talking about Chilwell, and that evening he scored a blinder. Yeah, that's a 25-year 5-yard blind. Yeah. And I thought of Hashim. I thought, it's odds law. We talk about Chiswell, and he goes and does that.
I know it's he'll probably score another one today, won't he? But yeah, good player with the French lad if they sign him.
Everton, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Manchester United are due to watch Leon Bailey, 22, on Saturday, with Bayern Leverkusen and Jamaican winger keen on a move to England.
Yeah, I think if you look at Bayer Leverkusen, they've got some pretty decent players, to be fair. I mean, they've got Kai Havertz, haven't they? The German wonder kid, who's apparently everyone in the whole world's after. So
Chelsea looking at him as well.
Chelsea, with their infinite funds, I'm not sure how they continue to afford it. But I mean, Leon Bailey, good age. I think he's only 22 or 23. 22. So I think he's a really fast winger, good skill, and I guess from a Wolves point of view, if Traore was leaving, I'd happily take him.
Liverpool are close to signing Bayern Munich and Spain midfielder Thiago Alcantara, 29.
Yeah, good player. Maybe
past his sell-by date.
I think that's the only thing, isn't he? 29. Has he got many more years left in the tank? I mean, when he was at Barca, early years at Bayern, fantastic. Classically trained at Barcelona. All the skills similar to Xavi. But yeah, age maybe just the wrong side.
Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola has shortlisted Napoli and Senegal defender Khalid Koulibaly. He's also 29. And Villarreal's Spain international Pau Torres, who's 23, and Benfica and Portugal international Ruben Dias, 23.
He's going Wolves, isn't he, Dias?
It's written, isn't he? It's Portuguese, 23. He's coming to Wolves, isn't he?
Client of Mendes. I'd be surprised if he didn't.
I think that'd be a very good signing for Wolves.
I completely agree. I think he's the right age, the right kind of player profile that we're after. Ticks all the boxes. But I think, as within the gossip, there's going to be a lot of suitors for him in Koulibaly as well, who's a fantastic defender. But, I think Napoli are after 70, 80, 90 million.
It's a bit low. How much was Willy Bolly?
What was he?
10 million,
something
probably.
Ridiculous like that. When Maguire's going for 96 million, then maybe it would be a bargain. But it'd be interesting to see who gets these players. Let's
just touch on Wolves before we carry on. Wolves Arsenal tonight. Your predictions?
Massive game. Predictions difficult.
Last year we beat them. Was it 3-0, 3-1?
3-0. It was 3-1. We were 3-0 up at half time, and then second half the game was done, and Arsenal scored when no one really cared, to be fair. But Arsenal are on a nice little run. Albeit against
poor teams.
So predictions for this, I'm going. Oh, it's a tough one.
It's hard, isn't it? I'm very nervous.
Yeah, it's our hardest game. It's the biggest game we've had all year, I think. Since January, this is the biggest game that we've had.
Win today and we could possibly go fourth.
C'est possible. Yeah, it's the stakes are massive. We've got Sheffield United on Wednesday as well. So if we get 3 points today.
Doesn't matter
The
how we get
game-
them, really, does it?
It doesn't matter, scrappy, whatever, last minute penalty, this, that, and the other. But I think Arsenal suit the way that we play. I think Arsenal will try and come at us. And
Arsenal
I think,
will attack.
absolutely, and I think that
That
will open
suits
the
our
game for
play,
us.
yeah.
Absolutely, and we've not lost against Arsenal since we've been back.
Yeah.
So, God, I'll go for a high scoring 3-2 Wolves.
I'm going 2-0 Wolves. I think with Arsenal attacking, Wolves will counter-attack, and with the speed. And I'm hoping they start with Adama Traore.
Yeah, I think this is the game that's precisely suited for him. I think the way that Arsenal play, they'll look to attack us. I think if we did play Dendoncker in the middle today, as great a player is, I think it would just restrict our attacking ability, and I think we need to go at them from the start. So release Traore.
And Diogo Jota due a goal as well.
Yeah, I think it's a big game for him. I think he's struggled since lockdown, since we came back from.
Do you know why?
From lockdown. His
He's-
haircut,
His haircut, and plus he's been playing too many PlayStations, hasn't
possibly. Yeah,
he? He won the PlayStation tournament,
he
didn't he?
did.
FIFA tournament. So
I think he's finding it hard to differentiate reality from kind of the gaming world. But he needs a big game today. I think we got Neto coming ready to take his place.
how good is Neto? I think personally, he's a £50 million player now.
I'd agree. I think I was listening to a podcast with Tim Spears the other day, and he was saying that people outside of Wolves in the game, they think that this guy's going to be a world superstar. They rate him that highly. The Geezer's 19.
Yeah,
The world is at his feet. I think he's just brilliant. So
it's magical. And do you think Nuno's going to sign a new deal? It's got to,
of
hasn't it?
course he will. He loves.
I think the
Wolverhampton.
deal is there. It's just the timing of the deal.
Absolutely. I think everything's ready to rock and roll. I think Nuno, I think he loves Wolves. I think he loves Wolverhampton, the people. I think he's settled in Wolverhampton. Sign it, Nuno.
Ashim, it was a pleasure always to have you on Ramadan Radio. Your intellect, your sports knowledge is second to none. We thank you. Thank you to all listening today. We'll leave you with Alvina and the teens. And you could catch me back tomorrow morning, 10:30, with Stories of the Week. Thank you, Ashim.
Thank you very much.